Hey, what's up, guys? Coach K here to drop some more football knowledge on you. Whether you play, coach, or watch, I hope you can learn something from these videos. In this video, I wanted to go over coverage zones and the types of coverages, just the basic types of coverages um, for DBs and linebackers. Okay, DBs and linebackers, you have to know where you're covering on the field. Okay, if your coach says, "Hey, you got to be in the flat," or "Hey, you got deep third," you have to know where that is on the field so that you can get there and you can stop the other team from getting a big play. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. The first zone we're going to take a look at is the flat zone. Okay, this is coaches have different measurements, they have different distances. I'm just going to give you just a basic distance. Okay, so the flat zones are furthest out to the side on both sides, and they're from the line of scrimmage back to 7-8 yards. Okay, so from the line of scrimmage back to 7-8 yards. Again, some coaches might want you to drop a little bit deeper. Some coaches might want you not to drop so deep. Okay, moving in from the flat zones, we have, and for the flat zones also, that's anywhere from the sideline into between the numbers and the hash. Okay, so from the line of scrimmage back to 7 yards, and then from the sideline to splitting the hash in the numbers, or the alley. Okay, we call that the alley. Um, the curl. So the next zone we have is the curl. Okay, it's mostly played by outside linebackers. Safeties can also drop down in the curl. Um, the curl is from the hash, okay, from the hash to the alley. Okay, so here are the hashes right here, and then to the alley. So that's about how wide it is, and then that's from anywhere um, from the line of scrimmage on back to about 7-8 yards again. All right, the hook. Okay, we have two hook zones, just like two curl zones, two flat zones, two hook zones right in the middle. Together we call them the hole. And normally this is played by your inside linebackers. So your inside linebacker guys, normally you'll be responsible for the hook zones. Okay, and that's from the line of scrimmage anywhere back to about 7-8 yards, and in between the hashes. That's the width of this zone in between the hashes. Um, moving on to the seams. Okay, the seam, what that means is um, any space between the zones here. So on the field, you'll have a guy in the flat, you have a guy in the curl, but there'll be windows. There'll be windows that quarterbacks and receivers like to, get into, and those will be called the seams. Now, the most gone after seam, like the most seam that quarterbacks and receivers want to exploit is the seam on the hashes. Okay, between the curl and the hook zones. Okay, so that's what seams mean. Those are the seams. All right, now the deep zone. Okay, I got one big zone on here, but it just depends on what coverage, and we'll see in a little bit on how many times this deep zone can get split. Okay, because it's not just one big zone unless we're in a cover one. Okay, but we'll talk about that in a second. But the deep zone, that can start anywhere from 10 yards past the line of scrimmage and on to the rest of the field. It just depends on how far the receivers go. Okay, so you don't want to just cover grass back in the deep zones. It just depends on how far the receivers go because you want to be deeper than the deepest. So the first coverage we got here, guys, is cover zero or straight man. Okay, Coaches will call different blitzes. This is not the only blitz that you can run out of this, obviously, but if you look, all of the coverage defenders are in man coverage. So every potential ball carrier for the offense, the running back, the two receivers on this side, two receivers on that side, they're all covered. They're being covered man to man by a defender, and there is no safety back deep. So that's why we call this cover 0. The coverage is called, when you hear cover 1, cover 2, cover 3, the coverage is called based on how many deep defenders you have back to defend the deep zones. So again, in this coverage right here, we have no deep defender. It's straight man to man, so we call this cover 0 or just man. Moving on, we got cover 1 or man free. Right? We call this cover 1 because there's one defender back, one safety back to cover the deep zone, okay? And we can call it man free because all of these defenders that are down low, they're in man coverage, and this guy, the free safety, is responsible for the deep zone. So man free or cover 1, okay? Again, you can send blitzes, you can send stunts up here with the D line, but every potential ball carrier again is covered man to man. One guy back to cover the deep zone. Next up, we have cover 2 man or 2 man under. Okay, so we have cover 2, meaning we have 2 deep defenders. So 2 safeties playing those deep zones. So safeties, you'll be splitting the deep zone in half. So the free safety will be taking one side, strong safety is taking the other. Okay, and you guys are working together to cover the middle of the field also. All right, everybody else is man coverage. There comes the man, so cover 2 man. Everybody else is man coverage underneath. Moving on to the next coverage, we have cover 2 zone. Okay, so we have our cover 2, 2 deep safeties covering the deep zones, and then everybody else is in zone underneath. Okay, we're not in man, we're not in read. This is straight cover 2 zone. We have a corner here in the flat. We have our will linebacker, weak side linebacker in the curl. We have our Mike playing the hole. We have our strong side linebacker playing curl, and we have our other corner in the flat. Moving on to cover 2 read, or we can call this palms. All right, cover 2 read is when our corners and our safeties on both sides, there's a mirror on both sides. Okay, at the start of the snap, at the start of the play and pre-snap, you're looking at number 2. So if we count from the outside in, when you're on defense, you're DB, you count receivers from the outside in. So this is number 1 and that's number 2. So both of these players' eyes are on number 2, and we're going to be covering based on what number 2 does. Okay, so if number 2 runs straight, if he runs a vertical, let me go ahead and edit this. If he runs this safety will be taking him, okay, because he's running towards the deep zone. The corner would then take his eyes back to number 1, and he would play over the top of number 1. So if number 1 runs an out route, the corner would be on top of that, right? If number 1 runs a vertical, just like number 2, the corner would be on top of that. Okay. Now, if, let me delete all this. So we're still in read 2 here. Ours are on number 2. If number 2 runs an out route, the corner would be playing that out route. He'd be in the flats, okay, covering that. Now, if number 1 were to run a vertical, the safety would be covering that. You say, Coach, how would we know? Again, if our eyes are on number 2, that free safety would see him running that out route, that corner would see him running that out route, and he would play flat, that safety would know to get over the top and play over number one. Okay, what if number one runs a slant, coach? Right? This wheel linebacker would be there to play that slant. Another type of coverage we have is cover three. All right, and there are different types of cover three. This one is called cover three cloud. I'm going to show you what that means in a second. Okay, but for cover three, all right, remember that number after cover tells us how many deep defenders we have. So we have 1, 2, 3 deep defenders. Now it's called cloud. It's called cloud because on the strong side, your corner is responsible for the flat zone. Okay, so cloud C, the letter C right here tells the corner he's going to be playing the flat zone. All right, that means our strong safety is going to be playing deep third, our free safety has deep third, and our other corner on the weak side has deep third. Okay, our weak side linebacker, he now has curl to flat, so he's kind of playing in two zones here. Okay, there's a little bit more space he has to play with, that he has to play in, and it's one of the disadvantages of this coverage. But he's going to be responsible for curl to flat. Mike is responsible for hook to curl. We have our strong side backer responsible for hook to curl. Again, all four of these guys are going to be responsible for covering a little bit more space rather in cover two zone. All right, so cover three sky now. So we just talked about cover three cloud. This is cover three sky with an S. The S talks to the strong safety, and that's telling him that he's playing the flat now. He's playing flat. Okay, curl to flat. And that's telling the corner that he's playing deep third. The strong side backer, Mike, and the wheel, their zones do not change on this. Okay, they're still covering the same things. Free safety still covering deep third, deep middle, and the weak side corner still covering deep third. Okay, so the last one in the cover three series is cover three buzz. Okay, that's the last one we're going to go over. All this does is changes where the strong safety is going to play. Okay, he is now going to buzz down into the curl zone. So he's going to take that strong side backwards responsibility and jump down in the curl zone, the hook to curl zone. Okay, that strong side backer is going to go from curl to flat. Okay, and our corner, strong side corner, is going to be playing deep third. The mic is the same, weak side backer is the same, and the weak side corner is the same, covering deep third. All right, so the last basic coverage we're going to go over is cover four. All right, cover four zone, just straight cover four, okay? Like the number says here, it's 4, so 4 deep defenders. Corner, strong safety, free safety, and the other corner, all right, are all responsible for a fourth of the deep zone. All right, our strong side backer, he has curl to flat. Our Mike, he has hole, so he has both hook zones. Okay, our weak side backer is responsible for curl to flat.